Hey everyone, welcome. Dr. Morgan with An Evolution in Chiropractic here. And what I'm wanting to do is just share some exercises with you. We know that there's kind of three things that can play into how you're going to do with working at home or just kind of living with human body and working in general. So one will be ergonomics, so making sure that how you're set up, how your workstation, how your computer, how all of that is set up is probably the first place. A second place to start is how's your core strength? And so we're going to look at core of the low back and core of the neck because those are a couple areas that I see most of my people for. And the reality is the human body hasn't evolved fast enough for us to become office workers. We still should be more of a cave person than we should be an office worker. So based on the amount of time we sit, our core muscles get weak, and those are the ones that it's important to strengthen, especially when your habits and what you're normally doing shifts. So one of the first ways to start strengthening the core is just by being aware of it. And a great way to do this is if you think about how you would fire your stomach muscles if somebody was going to punch you, you would tighten it. In yoga, they would say bringing your belly button towards your spine. But it's in general, if you were like, you wanted to suck in your gut and hide things from people, that's the muscle, that's the motion. And so if you do that, you can do that before motions that would typically set off your back. So you can fire that muscle before you stand up. You can fire that muscle before you bend over to grab something. You can fire that muscle before you bend over into the sink to get that plate that's at the bottom of the sink. It's a good way to protect the low back. It's also a good way to get the muscles used to firing and get the neurology used to firing those muscles. That's a good place to start. When they look at studies, one of the number one ways to start firing and strengthening the core is by doing hip bridges. So if you find a comfortable place to lay down, the way to do this is fire your core as if somebody's punching you, lift up the hips, go back down, relax the core. So the core should be engaged the whole time you're doing this. So firing the core, lifting the hips, back down. You can start by activating that. Now if you're in a place where this feels really unstable, it could be as much as firing the core, engaging the low back. Maybe you come an inch off the ground, or maybe you have a soft blanket under there and you're lifting up just enough to feel less of that blanket or that squishy surface. So those are going to be a great way to start activating the core. Now you can also add in other things like planks are a great one. So coming in, whether it's a modified plank from the knees or if it's a more traditional plank with your feet involved, both of those are going to work to activate. But in general, start with something simple. Start by getting the core fired and do the movements from there. If you have other questions, please reach out to me. I see a ton of people with low back things, and it's because as the low back gets weaker and weaker and weaker over time, at a certain point, it's going to tighten on itself to create a protective space. So those are great ways to start. The next thing I wanted to share was how to strengthen the core of the neck. Because when we spend all this time on our computer, on our cell phones, cooking, eating, like everything's in this less than positive posture. So, good posture looks like this where your ear, your shoulder, your hip all line up. And if you're standing up, your side of your knee and your ankle should be in that straight line as well. And what we see a lot of these days is more of this hunched over posture or anterior head posture. So when we look at strengthening the neck so that the head can stay back over the shoulders, one of the best ways to do that is simply laying flat, and then your face is nice and parallel to the floor. And what I want you to do is just lift up just enough to get off the floor. So the two ways that people will try to cheat when I ask them to do this is they'll go, oh yeah, I can lift my head. And they'll go way up here. Now if you're doing that, you're using other muscles and cheating. So it's literally just enough to get your head off the floor. And if you're in carpet, when I'm in carpet, I'll feel the carpet actually tickling the back of my head. It's just that far off of the floor. The other thing people will do to cheat is they'll really tuck their chin, or they'll jut out their chin. So again, if either of those things are happening, go ahead and start over and start again. But by literally just lifting up and doing these exercises, you can start strengthening, or you can lift and hold as long as it's not causing any pain. If any of this is causing pain, please reach out to me. Please let me support you in making sure you do these in a way that don't bother you. But you can just lift and hold. Maybe hold for 5 seconds, maybe hold for 10 seconds, but you should be able to maintain this position if your neck is healthy and strong. I know for me, I usually start people out in this office doing 6 sets at 5 seconds, unless they're not able to, okay? So again, if this causes any pain, please do not aggravate or irritate your neck, either while you're doing it. You shouldn't feel sore the next day either. These are muscles that are firing all day long to keep you in good posture. So again, with all of this, I'm trying to give you a foundation so you can maintain strength in your low back, in your neck, so that you can stay out of pain, so that you can stay mobile and moving. If you have any questions, if you need any support, please reach out to the office. Please let me take care of you in any way that I can. And a lot of times we can clear these conversations up over the phone, and I can make sure that you're well supported. So again, Morgan Oakes, An Evolution in Chiropractic. Be well, stay healthy, and stay strong so that your body can keep doing what it is that you're asking it to do for you.